Hi, Sarah. It's Lisa Medley with the Community Blood Center of the Ozarks. Hey, I'm so sorry we couldn't meet in person, but I just wanted to kind of fill you in on a few of the things that I would tell you if I could come and see you. Um, first of all, this giant bap on my nose, I was trying to help my husband put up a tree stand the other night, and a giant limb fell out of the tree and smashed into my face. So that was super fun. But everything's good. But anyway, just getting the obvious out of the way. So we have your blood drive scheduled for Wednesday, November 19th. I have you at a goal of 30 collected, which means we'll have to see probably 37 to 43 donors to achieve that because donors are going to get deferred for various reasons, or kids just aren't going to show up to school that day, or they're going to be sick, or they're going to change their mind. Lots of crazy things like that. Um, I don't know if you've donated blood before or if you have any knowledge of how the blood drive works, but I'm just gonna kind of give you the rundown of it. So we have over 150 high schools in our community that we have blood drives at, and we also have a scholarship program for all those high schools. So basically, they have at least two drives a year with us during the school year and collect a minimum of 20 donations each drive. So it's not how many donors get registered, but how many donations we actually collect because of deferrals and things like that. So 20 is the minimum collection. And like I mentioned, I've got your goal set at 30, which is based on history of your drive. I'll try to send you those stats too, so you can see kind of what you've done in the past. So, very achievable goal. Obviously, the goal of the blood drive is to collect blood for the community. Community Blood Center, we really are a community blood center. So, we collect blood in 44 counties in our community in Southwest Missouri. We've been doing that since 1995. This is our 30th year in the community, and I've been with the Blood Center for 25 of those 30 years. So, lots of working with lots of high schools out in our area. Um, our hospitals get 100% of their blood from blood donors to community blood centers. So the blood we collect in our community really does stay in our community. So that's really a cool thing and a super important part of our mission. So the blood we collect at your high school is going to go to like Phelps Health, going to go to Cox, going to go to Mercy, going to go to Lake Regional, one of the 40 hospitals in our area. So that's pretty neat. It's a cool thing. So on blood drive day, what's going to happen is our staff is going to arrive an hour and 15 minutes before your start time. So that means that your drive starts at 8, so they're going to get there about 6:45 a.m. So if you could have a student or somebody out there kind of keeping an eye out for them to help guide them into the right location to unload and to roll everything off the truck and get set up, that would be great. It's super early, so we want to make sure somebody's there and everything's open and ready to go. I think I had a sign up sheet for you. So probably a couple weeks before the drive, really start pushing and getting donors signed up. Um, a couple of things to mention to donors when you're signing them up. They need to be well hydrated, so drink a lot of water before they come and donate at the blood drive. And they need to have eaten something before they come. So if they're coming really early in the morning, they need to eat something significant for breakfast, like monsters and gummy bears. Monster drinks and gummy bears does not count as something significant. Matter of fact, those energy drinks often give our students a high heart rate, and then they get deferred because their heart rate's high and they can't donate. So definitely discourage that, which I know is an impossibility with kids today, but it's worth mentioning. Um, and they have to have a photo ID. So like a driver's license is perfect. If they don't have a driver's license, if you've got a school ID, that will work. A photo ID will work, but they also have to have proof of age. So you might want to have the office print out a list of birth dates, so that they can have those two forms of identification to be able to donate. So to donate blood, the minimum requirements are to be 16 years old or older, be feeling well and healthy, and weigh 110 pounds or more. Um, so 16-year-olds only have to have parental consent to donate the first time they donate. So if you have some 16-year-olds that want to give blood on the November drive, they do have to have that parental consent form signed. You can make copies of those forms so that you have plenty. If you run out, I sent you a re high school resources link, and it's on there, and you can print it out again. There is a version number on that, so if you happen to come across some old copies of that on your desk or a folder or something, discard those. make sure that they're the and I don't have that version number right now, but make sure at the bottom it has the version number that was in your packet. Um, so blood drive day, so we're in your gym. So for preparation for that, you're gonna want to have probably five or six tables down in the gym. I don't know if you cover your gym with tarps. A lot of places roll out tarps to cover them. All of our equipment rolls, so it all rolls across the floor. So if you want tarps, then those will have to be down. You'll have to put those down the day, before we arrive. Um, so you're going to want five or six tables. You're going to probably want to have about 40, I'm going to say 40 chairs. Don't worry about organizing it. Just have it in there, and then our staff will move things around how they want to set things up whenever they get there. You're going to want to have a couple big trash cans. We take all the biohazard stuff out, obviously, but there's still lots of snack trash and boxes and things like that. So um, canteen, we bring all the canteen treats. We bring like Powerade and Powerade or Body Armor for drinks, and then we also bring sweet and salty snacks. You guys are welcome to do above and beyond that if you want to, like your FACS class. Some FACS classes like to make homemade treats for their donors. That is not requirement at all. We don't want it to be a burden on you. So you do not have to do anything extra. Some schools like to get donations from area businesses like Casey's Pizza, things like that, but you do not have to do any of that. So if you have a student who has a connection and wants to pursue that, let them do it. But if not, not a problem at all. We'll have things for the donors. Um, every successful donor will get a t-shirt. Um, if they are deferred, they do not get the incentive gift. But if they get stuck with a needle, basically they get the incentive gift. If a donor gets stuck with a needle, they count toward your scholarship donation. So sometimes you might collect 19 donations, but had two donors that were stuck, and for some reason it wasn't successful. Sometimes it clots in the tubing. They have high platelet count or something like that, and it clots in the tubing, which is platelet's job. And so, but if they got stuck with a needle, they would count. So you would end up with 21 donations, say. Um, let's see, what else can I think of? Um, so obviously the number one thing is going to be signing up donors. I would kind of steer clear of athletes that are like currently in their season playing because your coaches aren't going to like that and are probably going to tell you the day before, no, those students can't give. So, um, make sure that if they're signing up an athlete that they're not in their current season and that it's going to be okay with their coaches, or you might get 50 kids signed up and find out that 30 of them were athletes that are playing next week in a tournament or something and aren't going to be able to donate. Um, your teachers, your staff, your drive is open to the community. So you can put those posters up out in the community too. Probably won't have a lot of community people come. I know a lot of schools are more optimistic about community coming than actually come. You might only have two or three, or you could have more. But generally it's mostly students that are giving, and that's kind of what our goal is at your high school drive. Um, so on the sign up sheet, you'll see the donors are staggered. So we don't want to double up those bookings. Students and community can sign up for themselves on that link that I sent you. Um, and you can put which I would suggest you do as you get paper signups, go online on that link and enter those names into the online sign up because that will take those slots away so that people can't double book on you. Um, it's kind of a pain to do the online sign up. I would just assign a student to do that and just take your paper list and say, hey, sign all these donors up. You might not be able to match them every 5 minutes like your paper sign up. Just get them as close as you can. That's fine. And then you'll have to use either your email and phone number, or the student can just use their email and phone number to sign each one of those donors up, the same email and phone number, because you're not going to have all that information to sign them up individually with their own. The only thing that's going to do different is it's going to send the confirmation to you, which is not a big deal. We are working on some new software that's been working on forever. I'm very hopeful that hopefully by the first of the year, we'll get to actually see that new software, and then it's going to be awesome, but it is not awesome yet. Um, but so what else? So I sent you that high school resources page. So look at the high school leadership workshop handbook. It's got lots of good ideas for recruitment and I don't know what my thing did there. It's got lots of good ideas for recruitment and getting donors signed up. And you don't have to do every single thing in that workbook, but it maybe will give you some ideas of what you could do to get people signed up for your drive. Um, Maybe in the morning you could have a sign up table, at lunch you can go around. Just don't just post it outside your door, the sign up sheet outside your door, because it's not going to be successful. You really need to have a student going around or a couple of students going around and signing up donors. So the day of the blood drive, like I said, we're going to arrive about 6:45 a.m. They're going to roll everything off the truck. They're going to get everything all set up, and then they're going to start taking the donors. Um, Occasionally at blood drives, especially high school blood drives, sometimes students don't feel good. So you would want to have at least one student in the canteen area serving the donors, and we'll tell them what to look for in case a student starts feeling bad. We want to take care of that student at the blood drive. So one volunteer at the canteen during the whole drive. It doesn't have to be the same kid, but you can rotate them out. I don't know how many students you have in your FCCLA to help you with that, but um, and then probably a couple of students to escort donors back to their class after the blood drive, because sometimes students don't feel good at the canteen table and aren't acting like they don't feel good and just don't tell us. And then they walk back to class and don't feel good in class. And then we don't want them to pass out and hit their head in the hallway or something like that. So if you escort the donors back to class, have two students escort them back, then if something does happen and they start feeling bad, they can just lay them down right there in the hallway and the other student can come back and get us. We have a rolly chair. We'll roll it out there. It's kind of a chair bed thing. And we'll get them back to the blood drive and onto a bed and take care of them until they are feeling better. It happens about every blood drive, every high school blood drive to somebody. So, and you don't know if it's going to be the toughest football, basketball player or the tiniest little girl. So you just don't, there's no logic to it, but eating and being well hydrated helps with that for sure. Let me think here. So signing up donors, number one thing. I would probably really start working on that a couple of weeks before, getting your posters out around town too. And then maybe giving reminders to everybody that signed up, like the night before. You can post on the blurb and the JPEG of the poster. You can post on your social high school social media page. You can post out into on your community pages. If you have a school reach call, that's a good time to, like the night before is, hey, blood drive tomorrow. Hope you can come and donate. Here's the time. Here's where to come. Um, that can get your community people involved too. And yeah, so I'm sure I've forgotten something super important. Those are kind of the basics though. Um, so just email me any questions you have. I'm happy to help any way that I can. If you decide you want to assign a student to it and you want me to talk to the student, I'm going to tell them all this stuff that I'm just telling you right now, but I'm happy to do that too if you'd rather do that. If you have a good student leader that you want to put in charge of it. And I guess that's all I can think of for right now. So, all right. Well, good luck, and I'm happy to help any way I can. So just give me a call, text, whatever you got, and I'll help you. All right. Thanks. Bye.